Hi, I'm Jen Cornell, Product Manager for Digital Innovation and Instructional Technology here at Wayside Publishing. I'm so excited to take you on a walkthrough of our learning site today. I have tailored this presentation for us to be all about distance learning and the needs that our learning site is able to provide during distance learning. I'm a former Spanish teacher, so I know how important it is to have access to engaging in equitable real language learning materials so you can deliver your lessons remotely. So when you first log in and when your students first log in, they're going to be taken to the dashboard. And this is where you'll find your Explorer courses. Let's jump right into our Explorer course. And here is where you'll be able to have access to all of the amazing audios, videos, any resources that are found within the textbook series to be able to have access to materials like integrated performance assessments or rubrics or anything with the video bloggers and videos. But what I want to show you first is something that's going to be very useful during distance learning, and it's called the classroom forum. And now more than ever, we know how important it is to continue those relationships and make sure there's a safe place for students to build online community together within the classroom. So the classroom forum is just the spot for that. This is where you can post your social emotional learning lessons, any other assignments that you might want to provide to students in order to start a discussion with them. You can do audio, video. You can also link to external tools like Pear Deck or Jamboard or Henny Lily here for any other edtech links you might be using beyond the Wayside Publishing activities. This is another place where you can also post your Zoom links, or if you're using Google Meet, so that students always know where they can find their links to join you during synchronous learning. So check out Classroom Forum, but if we go back to Explorer here, and I want to show you some of the content that's in here. This is one way that you can plan your lessons. You can search Explorer for different activities. You can take a look at all of the activities that can be assigned to students. The reason why this one's grayed out is because I've hidden this from my students, but I as a teacher could always still assign it to my classes. I've already assigned it to my students, so it tells me here, but if I hadn't already assigned it, I would be able to do that to my classes. These stopwatch activities are going to be very important because these are the activities that go to the gradebook. These are online quizzes or tasks, and I can preview them as a teacher, and then decide if I want to assign it to my classes, or I could wait for later and do that. I can also share this. Anytime you see the share button, this will share any activity to Google Classroom. So if you're using Google Classroom, it's a great way to integrate our Wayside LMS with Google Classroom. You can also see what type of activity are the online activities, the quizzes, by clicking on this little eye icon, whether it's long answer, multiple choice, matching, etc. So this is, like I said, one way that you can assign and you can see what activity is available on the learning site and share to Google Classroom. Another way is via our FlexText, and this is our digital textbook. And you as a teacher have access to both the teacher edition and the student edition. So I'm going to jump in the teacher edition just to show you the icons and how else you can assign to students. When you get into the FlexText, you're going to want to pay attention to these compass icons. These are where all of the related activities for any unit or activity can be found. So these are the same assignments that are found in content, just so students, and you don't have to jump between content and FlexText, you're able to have everything here all together. So I'm going to show you an example of a video blogger and how students are able to complete activities. So that way, if you're sharing your screen and you still want students to watch a video or you want to share the video with them, you can play the video directly from your FlexText. You can also assign the students directly from the FlexText too. What I want to remind you about is you can assign one thing at a time from FlexText and Explorer. I'll show you where you can do bulk assigning in a minute. Students can download files. You can as well for anyone that might need to watch later. And then you can also share Google Classroom from this aspect as well. But let's go back to the FlexText because I want to draw your eye to our can-do statements, which these align to activities, and they can be either intercultural or communicative, and they go aligned to our portfolio, which I'll show you in a minute. But some other features that are helpful during distance learning when students are on their FlexText are the search. They can search for activities and ideas, and they can search in the target language or English. You can also have students jump to page that they can stay with you. You can say, please just go to page 87. And then my favorite feature is the highlighting tool. And this allows us during distance learning and face-to-face learning to just engage students more with the text and have them engage in active learning so that they can take ownership and put some ideas, things they want to capture about what they read or what they're learning about. And then they always have access to their tabs and their little stickies here. So another thing with assignments is, I told you could assign from the FlexText and Explorer, but you can also bulk assign from our Assignments tab. And this is where students can see the calendar. The calendar default is set for the student view. What you as a teacher will see the list view, but you can always toggle back and forth between the two, and so can students. But this is where anytime you assign something, all the assignments will go here. You can see who has completed assignments. You can also see when things are due, when things require grading, and students are able to see when things have been graded. So it just gives that indicator to them about things that need to be done and things that are due that day. But to bulk assign, I would go to add assignments. I want to click on the part where anything I haven't already assigned to my students. And as you know, during distance learning, we have to have our lessons ready by Sunday night and allow students multiple days to be able to complete activities. You can see I can quickly assign all these activities to my students and say, these are the activities I want them to do for the week. Or I can also decide who gets to have these activities. So I can really personalize and differentiate who should be getting which assignments. And so I'm going to allow all my students to have access to this. And often we might want to assign things with a delay. We might not want our students to have access to everything all at once. So I can decide if I want to assign this with a delay, or I can assign this right now. I'm going to say it's going to be due next week. I'm going to assign it now. And you'll see that my assignments have been created right here. This is when I created them. This is when they're due. And then for the students, you'll see that they have all these assignments due on the 24th. Now, any activities that have the stopwatch, those are the quizzes. These go directly to the gradebook. So you will see in my gradebook here that I am able to have all my students in a grid view. I'm able to quickly see their grades, their scores, which activities need to be graded still, anything that's overdue. I can search and have different filters on here to narrow my view of this grid. And then when I click on the Export Grades button, this will download an Excel spreadsheet of my assignments and gradebook for my students. So that way I could enter them into my gradebook platform, Aries, or any other grade reporting tool, or I can share with my students as well. So let me just show you quickly what it would look like to grade something. The questions show up. Students can have multiple attempts. The status bar is here. I can edit the grade. I can give holistic feedback, video and audio, so they can hear me, they can see me, or they could just see my comments. I can also quickly navigate between students, either through this drop down, or I can do the left, previous, and next student arrows. So I'm going to go back to all students because I want to show you too the portfolio, and then I'll take you back at how easy it is for a student to upload artifacts to their portfolio. So with the portfolio, students have access to this, and it's been great during distance learning because this is a tool that allows them to personalize their learning and always reflect so that they can show what they can do with languages. They can always reflect on their progress around a can-do statement and the activities that are aligned to the can-do statements. They can then leave their feedback and artifacts about their reflections and how they are connected to the can-do statements. And then you as a teacher are able to leave comments for students and either audio or video. And it's so great for students to be able to reflect on this. But we've bridged the gaps between gradebook and portfolio in the sense that students are able to quickly go to their grade screen and add or flag an activity that they want to add to their portfolio. And it quickly will add things to their can-do statements, so they can do that. So then let's go back to the dashboard up here, where when you're planning, you're going to want to use Learning Tools feature. This is the Instructional Strategies Toolkit that gives you a complete database with many different instructional strategies that you can use within the classroom to engage students. These are great in face-to-face, but they're so useful and wonderful in distance learning. So that way I can decide which activity might be best when I'm looking if I want to sort by modes of communication or by skill level and proficiency level, as well as maybe even heritage speakers and learning styles. So I have a wide range of skills here that I can use to use within my lessons. I now want to then show you the What's New feature, because you're going to want to always stay up to date about what's happening on the learning site by clicking on the What's New button. We release many new features, so stay tuned. Some of the things that are coming out soon are Gradebook Sync. We want to make sure our gradebook and our learning site syncs up with other LMSs like Canvas, Schoology, and Aries, so that way grades can sync easily. We're looking at making the learning site offline. We're also looking at adding more dashboards around skills and growth in the gradebook, so stay tuned. If you ever have any questions, you can always come to the Need Help, and this is a place where you can discover the learning site in more detail with getting started guides. Here, you can also have access to our knowledge base of tips and tutorials, and that'll take you to our Wayside Publishing YouTube channel, which has so many videos about pedagogy and the learning site. So if you want to dig in more on a longer learning site tour, join me on this overview tour. We also have a webinar about using online learning management systems for online learning and how to design instructional material. You can also look at how to use the portfolio, how to use performance assessments. If you want to go more in depth with discussion forum and FlexText, there's so many possibilities here. As you can see, there are so many videos. Look about proficiency trackers, how to grade and use the rubrics that we have. So you'll want to check that out as well. And I want to thank you so much for joining me today. As you're using the learning site, please don't hesitate to reach out in our feedback channel here. I read all the feedback that comes in. This is a way that we are able to do continuous improvement with our learning site so that you and your students always have the best online learning experience. I'm wishing you so much luck this school year. Have an amazing school year, and thank you again for joining me. Bye-bye.